What is up, DTube Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit about why I still like DPOS even after all the stuff going on at the moment with Steam. And I also want to talk a little bit about time locks. So it's really interesting to observe the crypto space because there is always, every month, there is always like a big thing happening or some new innovation comes or whatever. So this is of course the Steam drama month in many ways because of all this stuff going on with the witnesses and so on. And I want to talk a little bit about why I still like DPOS, because it's like, maybe other projects can like laugh a little bit at Steam or whatever, or I don't know if they're doing that even or if they're even aware, but it's like, I think everything, like what I like about delegated proof of stake systems is it kind of forces systems to be a little bit more, they are more alive. So for example, Steam is not like a dead thing, like it's like a living, breathing thing. It's like an animal, you know, and you know, it makes it so people kind of have to be a little bit more aware of things. They have to expand their borders of ignorance. So and that you have this like voting thing on witnesses, and that with these recent events, it probably has made more people a little bit more aware of that aspect of what it means to be a token holder, and potentially stuff that can happen with the witnesses if some stuff goes down. So I still like delegated proof of stake because I still think it's like the best system where people they're not just holding a token, but they also can be a part of a network. They can, for example, on Steam, you can do stuff on the network, you can create media, and you also have this like voting ability, right? It's not just that you're just holding a token. For example, with Bitcoin, you're just holding the token. You're not even voting, you're not even creating any media. You barely even know what kind of other people that are using it. Like you have ideas about it, but you don't really know. So it's like with delegated proof of stake, you really are a bigger part of the whole ecosystem. It's more a game of crypto kind of world. And I always knew this with like Steam blockchain, that it was always this place where a lot of stuff is happening all the time, a lot of craziness and a lot of cool stuff as well. And most other ecosystems are not really working like that. And I sort of feel like it's kind of inevitable eventually that everyone in the world is going to consider governance more and what that sort of means, and that they're probably going to use new technology to do that, and then they're probably it's probably going to work very similar to how Steam is working right now. So people that are sort of involved in early DPOS systems at the moment, they are sort of already very prepared for what other people may learn way in the future. But Steamians, in many ways, they will have this like experience of failures, watching what successes, watching tokens that fail, watching tokens that succeed, seeing various people's actions, seeing what works and what doesn't work with new technology. And Steamians, basically, they're like looking at this whole landscape of crypto, and I think that they are gonna have eventually like an edge when governance is going to be more like, the more people there are on digital ecosystems, eventually they probably want to gravitate eventually to the best governance systems, whatever kind of systems that is going to be, who knows. And Steamians are basically at the forefront of that, I would say, because other projects, many of them are just talking, they don't really have something interesting up running at the moment. So it's like I like DPOS because I see it as like a battleground, or like a training field or something like that, to like just observe the whole landscape, and also just get a personal experience of tokens, and see how that works, and just seeing how some projects like drift off and do something totally random that they really shouldn't have done. For example, DLive. And seeing other projects that want to like create a clone of Steam, and then it doesn't work, it kind of fails. Yeah, it's super fascinating to study it, and also to study it like from the perspective of what is it that actually creates value. And I think in many ways a big part of that people are missing, I think, is integrity. If an ecosystem has integrity, I think then value also comes along with that. And that is sort of what I have been seeing. Like if integrity falls apart, the whole ecosystem usually just falls apart. That's what we've seen with a lot of projects, and that's also what we've seen with a lot of teams that began in 2018, and a lot of them did not have integrity, and then they just stopped. Even when they had a lot of competence, they just decided to fully quit. And it's very sad, because a lot of people in those teams have been extremely competent, and then they just stop. I think it's super sad, to be honest, because a lot of it could flower into something truly amazing. But it comes down in many ways that people are not fully dedicated, and then just everything just falls apart, and you can never really build anything on that. So yeah, integrity and dedication, I think, is two big aspects that, I mean, the Steam ecosystem kind of has those things, or, you know, in big parts, it has had that, and in big parts also, it hasn't had those, as we've seen. But with the core Steamian, I would say that there has been a lot of integrity and sort of dedication. But then, of course, you have all of these drift-offs, people doing crazy things or doing kind of other weird things that they probably shouldn't do. But yeah, so delegated proof of stake, I still look at it as like a beta testing field. In like, I've always been like enjoyed like street smart tactics. So I don't like most projects in the crypto space. They're very like book smart, and even like a lot of Bitcoin fanboys, and like these people that write like a Bitcoin book or start a Bitcoin podcast. It's like they are more like book smart people. They like quotes. They like saying different words like independent and like freedom and all of this, and they can be maybe skillful with words, but I'm more curious about what is happening right now in like token governance. What is happening now with new content created today? Content that may not be perfect, but that is real and that is interesting. And if you want to see all of that, you kind of have to go with Steam, you know, in many ways. And yeah, it's like Steam has a lot of street smart people, so maybe a lot of stuff fails, but those things that succeeds are gonna succeed like super big time, and you won't even see it coming. And I also think that with DPOS, it's like it slowly makes people super smart, but you're not really seeing it. If you're looking at it looking from the outside, you don't really see how much they are educating themselves and how much Steamians are learning every day. You're not really seeing it that much, but eventually you're gonna see it, how much more competent they are in how they're using technology, in how they are sharing tokens around, how they're looking at governance. Like there's very much. In many ways, it's like Steam is like a miniature government, but like in a global perspective. and also where stuff is happening much quicker, like drama goes down super fast and then can end super fast, and then it's on to the next thing. So yeah, I'm a big fan of delegated proof of stake, especially with Steam, how with the Steam chain, how Steam is a social blogging chain, which it kind of is like, it has all of those like core things you want. So blogging is like, you can write there, you can post a video there, you can post some voice thing there, and it's like, it doesn't have that many more bells and whistles above that. It has a reward pool, but, and it's like, it has those core things you want, not so much gimmick stuff. And I kind of like that when it has those like core important features, and they haven't really tried to overcomplicate it. Now, I know, like, for a new person coming into this ecosystem, it takes like 6 months to know really what's going on, like, what is this? But yeah, it's fun for people that sort of want a challenge, and for people that are kind of bored with like all these other things. For example, Instagram posts a photo, yeah, but there's nothing about governance or like real humans. It's like okay, post a photo. YouTube, post a video. It's not that fun, you know. Or Facebook, like, it's just boring. So yeah, delegated proof of stake is very interesting. These last 2 years, it's mainly been interesting to see how nothing really, what we've been seeing is nothing really has been able to like outcompete Steam. And now we have all this drama going on, and we don't really know how this drama is going to end, but we're going to get some kind of outcome from it eventually. Who knows? And it's like, yeah, it's really the place where everything is happening right now. With DPOS and yeah, so I like it. I sort of feel that if you want like better, like a lot of people are looking at like governance in the world and like looking at these large players in governance of like countries and nations and stuff like that. I think in many ways people may find it like better that they just start playing around with something smaller like Steam and see how miniature governance works, and how proof of brain giving out tokens and how politics is involved in that, how that kind of works, and see if they can find a role in that. And if they can work in that smaller ecosystem, maybe they can do something in these bigger ecosystems eventually. Because if they see something works in miniature version, maybe they can do something in the bigger, large scale things. And I also think in many ways that DPOS systems, you can experiment with, yeah, proof of brain, but also about building influence. And building influence that has integrity, and that's like, and kind of like try to build influence that kind of lasts. You can build influence on these other platforms, but usually you get like, okay, you get like 1 million followers on YouTube, but then it's like, it can be kind of hard to grow because you realize you kind of have to do everything yourself. Everyone else is just, it's very hard to build up other people, you know, in a fast way without tokens. And then you kind of realize that you need something like a DPOS system like Steam to kind of empower other people, so you can build up many whales instead of with all these other platforms. It's very much survival of the fittest. Yeah, you can get to the top of the hill super fast by get many followers by cheating some steps, but then it's like you are up there at the top and your friends are down below, and it's like it's very hard to bring them up without tokens or something like that. So yeah, it's like, I like it, but it's not perfect, you know. A lot of these chains may, you know, break sometime, but then we're probably gonna invent something new, even a better system, because that's usually what we're seeing in this ecosystem. Like if something is like working horrible, people usually eventually invent something that's better, you know, because there's a demand. And when there's a demand, like usually people see a market opportunity and then they go and try to do something new. And it kind of inspires people to use their intelligence more if something massively fails and maybe there's a demand for something new. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, in general, I find DPOS is just fascinating to me, like super fascinating, like daily watching DPOS, seeing how it works and what doesn't work. And I love seeing these numbers go around with like votes, sending value around. I think it's just cool to see the value flow. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about is like the concept of time locks. So we're getting some tokens now that are focusing a little bit more on time locks with like trustless interest. And I think this is like super cool because this is a field that has not really been explored that much in depth because it sounds like too easy to, like, the main crypto community has focused a lot on, oh, we need some like utility for this to have value, so we need to find like a market or something like that. And then one project comes along and just says like, no, we can just like print new tokens in trustless interest, and if we just copy what works in the real world with like time locks where they lock up value for many years, we can give them a little bit of extra tokens. So it's like, I think that's going to be a big thing in the future, like time locks and stuff like that. And in some ways we can already see it right now, like the concept of set it and forget it. I think that that's going to be a big thing. And as I said, I mean, that's something that we're seeing a lot with automation, and especially with tokens. Like when you just have tokens or numbers in a computer somewhere, and you just want to see them eventually like increase in value. We're seeing a lot of whales, for example, on Steam that are more using it as set it and forget it. They vote on some people, and it's nice. It's nice when you can automate kind of more systems and make them do whatever it is you want to do. And maybe sometimes you check in to see how it goes. But the whole movement towards automation just seems to be making sense. And it's like, we can already see that with Bitcoin. Like if someone just had 10,000 Bitcoin, 2009 or something like that, and like never ever moved it, it probably would have more value than anyone else that was trying to outsmart a market or something like that. So I think time locks is going to be a huge thing in the future, where people just they just lock value up for a certain period of time, they set it and forget it, and then they don't have to think about it. And then eventually when the time lock expires, they unlock it and maybe they do something with it. I think in the future computers may do all of this automatic. They may be so good that we don't really have to do that much. I already see it in some games where it's like, some games have earned me like already like $3 per day like in tokens. And it's really just like, it's just generating items automatic by me doing certain things in the game, clicking a few buttons. And yeah, it really is like that. It's like clicking a few buttons and then earning this. And with artificial intelligence, I think we're gonna have computers eventually that thinks a million times better than a human being, because we're only doing like computing. And computing is something that a computer can do way better than humans if you give it more power. And we can give a computer more power because we're getting more RAM, we're getting better processors, and then eventually it can just compute much faster than we can. And I've already seen this on... like, I can already do this fairly easy. It's like, I can give an example. Like, if you want to do like an easy YouTube video, right now in theory you can like just take some text from a news article, you can feed it into a program that gives an auto voice that talks, and then you can just combine that with like maybe 5 images, and there you have a YouTube video. and eventually you would be able to click one button and you already have a YouTube video ready, and it's like near zero marginal cost to do a YouTube video. And for that video to become profitable, it only needs to earn like a couple of cents, and you already like in profit. So that might sound a little bit unreal, but I have a personal experience of that already, that I can do that on my phone. And it's just, the faster phones becomes, the easier it's going to be to produce new, interesting and engaging stuff and put on the internet. And then if you're just earning a little bit, already in profit. And when smartphones become better and you don't have to upgrade them so much, you get even more profit because you don't have to buy a new device all the time. So eventually it seems like it's gonna go full on hoard mode, where people have so much value, and then it's just, if they have a lot of value, then it just makes sense that they're gonna lock up a lot of that value and just gain trustless interest by doing a time lock. So they just lock it up for a longer period of time. And then just because time goes by pretty fast, it's like if you go back to 2016, what is that, like 4 or 5 years ago? That went by pretty quick, I would say. So 10 years, like a time lock, it probably would go by pretty fast. And then you have this value that have been growing during a long period of time, and it just gets, if it seems like it would get more people into more a saving mindset, and they don't have to like consider like, oh, I can take this value today and like do something else with it, because when it's like time locked, you can't really take it out, and that's kind of cool in many ways. So yeah, that's what I want to talk a little bit about in this video, like DPOS. I don't know, it's just interesting, so much happening with it. Especially in drama. Not everything good, not at all, but you learn a lot. You really do learn a lot by seeing everything going on. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Have a great day, YouTube and Steam blockchain. Bye bye.